Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, and welcome everybody to Zelda Link to the Past Randomized. We're gonna start in less than a minute, and as, well, previously, this is a ladder race. We start with Zelda boots, which means we do, as a matter of fact, get to dash across places, except we don't get the other benefits of boots, like bonking across gaps, or opening up the Monk Rocks or King's Tomb, or anything like that. The walls cannot be opened with Zelda boots, etc. But besides that, we can go decently fast. So this is a ladder race, so anybody who is watching live, please do not help me in any capacity. But feel free to discuss stuff anyways. Aside from that, we're gonna begin in very soon. I'm gonna start in Link's house today and go. Because this will give me a decent opportunity to hopefully get some bombs, and we get bombs early. Nice, I don't need to worry about these anymore. I'm gonna close the Discord thing for now until I need it way later, I suppose. I'm actually not gonna kill a guard, I've decided, because I'm checking the 3 poles up north anyways. It's a little bit weird doing it this way around, but I think that's alright. The main reason for going to Uncle first is because we get a little bit of magic, which can be helpful. And more importantly, trying to get bombs before we have head into Kakariko village, because 3 bombs is basically the minimum heading in there to do reasonably efficiently. And we even get to use a flute. That's very nice for a beginning. Now I'm starting to wonder whether it's faster to go to Kakariko village and then go north from there with the flute. I actually never timed that out. Okay. Did I deactivate the flute again by accident? I think I did. I still have the previous screen on. That's what I forgot. Alright, let me do this in just a moment. Sorry. I forget this way too often, don't I? Thank you! I'm a dingus. Can I change the scene? Yep. Sorry. It's always that dilemma of, you know, I kind of want to make a nice intro highlight thing, and then I forgot to switch the scene. Good job, Yaga. Alright, we get hearts for the first 3 pull. Actually, I did not need to kill the enemy over there. I just realized, because I did kill the guard inside the uncle place. There's a sword right here, so that's nice. Yeah, getting his moth, yep. Accurate. Alright, then we get a sword. Hold down left. I take... Okay, I thought I would take 20 rupees, but apparently I don't. Not intentional. Just... It happens. Those guys drop arrows. I forget what... I think they are in the small price pack category normally. The guards drop small magic, which is interesting. Now, without these 20, I'm actually going to be a bit worried about being able to afford the bottle vendor, as well as more bombs, because 3 bombs are enough for the well, blind hut here, as well as the chicken coop, but maybe we need one more for the racing minigame. We get a cape, another sword, alright. And what was the other thing? Don't tell me. Oh yeah, red boomerang. Red boomerang is nice, because it allows us to stun enemies, and stun drops can be potentially useful. Sometimes they are not, sometimes they are. Don't forget to activate the flute. I'm gonna switch to the flute right after placing down the bomb here. Flute, flute, flute. There we go. We also get the lamp, which means Aghanim is already available. Okay. Flute, flute, flute. More bombs is nice, and we actually get lucky there. Just enough rupees for turning, well, them into something the bottle vendor gives us, really. 10 arrows. Not great. But as usual, we're not really buying the 10 arrows as much as we buy the peace of mind. That we don't have to worry about this anymore. Alright, lamp also gives us access there. I will want to go Death Mountain sometime, but before that we probably just go the standard south road. We do have actually all the hearts that we need to just use sword beams against Mary Molders, which is decently efficient. What else? More bombs, that is very nice early on. 6 is probably going to be sufficient for a while. 1 rupee. So, I like to just kind of do a standard opening where I go to Karkarika village early on. Also, we only have pseudo boots, so we cannot actually get the item from the library. Even if we wanted these 3 bombs, we couldn't get them right now. We would have to actually get boots. Right. Then we go here. And we see what's in the chest inside. It's a piece of heart. Now, I don't remember what I got from Sanctuary, but I'm pretty sure it was neither map nor compass, nor it was a small key. So, if the small key is in the back, we would need a glove for technically having logical access to certain things. I do not need these 5 rupees. Don't get hit. Ooh. You can actually catch up to these apparently and get hit by them. The reason why I don't want to get hit is because these sword beams are really nice for the mini Moldorm Cave. It is 2 hits rather than 1 if I were to do melee attacks, but while going over there to do melee attacks just is a bit awkward. There's a moon pearl here, which does actually technically open up Aghanim. Or more specifically, Dark World after Aghanim. We also get a armor upgrade, which is quite nice. Moon pearl acquired. No. I haven't even checked the map yet. Oop. Alright. The green pendant. Pressed the button 1 too many times. I don't have gloves yet, so I cannot pick up the rock even if I wanted to get some money. There's 20 rupees under that rock basically every time you enter and leave. There's flippers right here. We don't have enough money for Zora, but there is basically 4 items readily available before Zora, so I think I'm just immediately gonna check them out right now. Maybe I had to go... You know what? Sure, we just go to Hobo as well. I always hope that it's gonna be more efficient later, but considering how frequently people like to check this guy early on, I probably should do that too. This is basically just hedging my bets to safe play. And considering the more recent seed, I'm not gonna say which one, in case you wanna still watch it on the highlights, it probably is a reasonable play. Also, I think it's actually faster to flute from here. Yeah. Basically, it's just Hobo is just completely its own trip because it's faster to flute. So, which is why I would need to flute away from it anyways. So I just kind of delay going there until hopefully it's more efficient when I have a mirror and the Dark World access and stuff. But yeah. Right, we can get the 2 items in the fairy cave. We don't have a bottle to put in there. But we also don't need to worry about swimming on the floor because, well, we have actually flippers properly, so we enter the cave the normal way. Now, where do we go next? It is a green pendant, Easton, so I don't mind going there. Maybe dipping into it. Could also go for Hyrule Castle, although I will kind of avoid going there. There's a bottle right here. Bottle could be important for Sick Kid, so we go ahead and grab it. Sick Kid will give us one random item. Now, every time I think about going to like a one-off location, like Ice Rod Cave, I'm thinking, well, if you have a flute, Agina is just more efficient. Because you check what is on the desert ledge, and basically about as fast as Ice Rod Cave as well. I'm always torn of actually going there to begin with. Yeah, going to Ice Rod Cave if I have flute. But yeah. I wonder whether this is actually more efficient to do. Doing a spin speed here. Maybe with hookshot it's more efficient. I'm not sure about doing a spin. Maybe if I stop earlier and get a better timing for it. More bombs. I don't mind bombs. Eastern Palace. You know what? We're gonna briefly rescue the old man, go up Death Mountain. It's gonna be the play, and then we go Eastern Palace. Welcome to your Chow Garden. I hope you have a good morning as well. So basically, rescuing the old man, I always consider it kind of mostly pays for itself. Because it gives us a more efficient save and quit point at some point. The main downside is going to be going up Death Mountain. Let's say we find Mirror at Sahasrara, then we have to just climb again. Should be a bit unfortunate, but simultaneously we could also just find other stuff along the way here that could lead us to more progression. Now this is not good. Thank you for not killing me here. Do I wanna... No. I was about to maybe go Dark World in order to check out the pendants, but we'll get to there later. Alrighty, so we did get a glove, which does allow us to check the back of escape, which guarantees that we can find... Okay, hearts are the drop here. We can find the small key. I think I save and quit from here to go to Sanctuary from here. There's a hook shot. Maybe not saving and quitting in this case. Hook shot was available at the very beginning, so we don't go Eastern Palace. If we go Eastern Palace, it will be later. So we save and quit probably out of Spiral Cave at this rate, assuming we don't find anything worthwhile along the way. Wait, I don't think I've ever done that one by accident. Instead of pressing the hookshot button, I press the dash button, which means you hop off the ledge immediately instead of having that little delay until you hop off the ledge with. Basically, it's the quick hop. Whenever I tried to hop off a ledge, I briefly pressed the dash button, and I did that there for some reason. That's a new one. I don't think I've ever done that one before. Get a Bombers medallion after hookshot. We do have a boomerang, so... Oh wait, I do have... When did I get full health? I thought I didn't have full health. Silver arrows, which is cute, and a mirror. Right, we can go into Tower of Heron now. Actually, I don't think there was anything on the thing for Toilet. So I guess we're not gonna save and quit. You know what? I'm still gonna save and quit from here. Get to the back of escape. Just for the item there. It's decently fast. Exception is if we find Titan Smiths here. Or maybe even Hammer? Not sure about Hammer. By the way, back of escape is 3 quick checks anyways. Let's do that. Wait, hold on. Are silver arrows a unique item again? Shouldn't it be a bow? In this format, for whatever reason, they have decided that the bow is now non-progressive. Both the ladder or Open Plus, the invitational format, as well as the main tournament, if you will, have for whatever reason decided that they do not want to have the bows progressive. I genuinely do not know why. Like, the one part that I've read was about making sure that you know which one is the progress or the intended bow for progression. But yeah, I don't get it. To me, it's basically just putting another ice rod into the game. Not quite as extreme as the ice rod. It does block off a fair bit more things. Okay, we do not need an ice rod this seed actually, curiously enough. Speaking of which, do I grab a heart here? Yeah, we'll grab hearts because we don't need the death warp. Since we have other stuff. Small key. And just grab it by a boomerang. What? Right, small key is required for getting the big key out of the basement, but if you can just do Herapod, you don't have to necessarily go into the basement, but without the big key, we can't go and get the item out of the big chest. It might not be relevant, but unless we find both items in Tower of Hera, we don't know whether it's relevant or not. So since there is not that many locations remaining, and Aghanim is definitely on the table right now with the hookshot flippers combination that allows us access to the West Dark World if we were to go and defeat Aghanim, well, I'd rather maybe be a bit more thorough, or not. Maybe not. Do I go into the East? How thorough do I want to be? There is a second item right here, so that is good news. We don't have to go into the basement. We don't have enough money for Zora. I'm strongly considering just checking Sikit, checking Eastern Palace, ignoring Zora. Alright, checking Sikit first. Because we did go out of our way to get that bottle, so maybe it holds something useful. It's useful indeed. That is another sword. Tempered sword is basically as good as our upgrade levels are going to get. So that works. By the way, I just recently realized that if I fly to Eastern Palace here, it is the exact same amount of ticks or cursor movements to go to the left, wrapping back around, as it is to go to the right, going up the numbers instead. Completely a random note, I guess. We do have a lamp, so this does allow us to check these things. It's one of these kinds of awkward seats. Oh, good thing we went in here. I'm considering just dipping out of here, but it's a pendant. I don't care about clearing the dungeon, so don't mind to just go here. Either way, it's one of these awkward seats. I was about to say that it just looks like it is very likely Aghanim. As I said, if you have hookshot and flippers, defeat Aghanim, you have access to more or less the entirety of the Dark World. So it is somewhat likely, let's put it that way, that we don't find the hammer or the titansmiths beforehand. At that point with this kind of item loadout. But today we didn't have to worry about that, so that's nice. Because it always kind of is awkward, because at what point do you decide to actually go? I kind of don't want to go. This is gonna be the big key and the long wrong and around. Either way, at what point do you actually decide to go to Aghanim? Do you just farm extra money for Zora? And do you check every last item location that you didn't check until now? Because, you know, it could just be the hammer is right there, but at the same time, at some point, you're checking these item locations so inefficiently that you could still check more efficiently later, along the way, if you will, that it just kind of becomes really awkward. That's the big key, we knew this was a big key. And this is just a 50-50 to even be an item whatsoever, rather than just map or compass, whichever other one I don't have yet. This is the bow. Do we defeat the dude? No. We gotta fight him. Alright. I have very little money. I think we go here. No, we don't go here, because I don't have a hammer. You know what? Go up that mountain. I don't care about clearing Turtle Rock because it is a pendant. So it's less likely to be irrelevant in this seat. So I'm not gonna wait until I have Samaria, Ice Rod, Fire Rod to go up there. So I can immediately go and check it right now, because that is 2 items in Super Bunny Cave and 4 items. I will still want to see what the medallion requirement is for Turtle Rock, because it could still be relevant. And I remember at least one race where I forgot to check it, and I did have 2 medallions, so I just assumed I had the medallion for Turtle Rock, and I just went up there and I didn't have the medallion. It was a pendant at the time. That was quite a while ago though. Alright, nothing here in Super Bunny Cave. Oh, what? That's... I don't usually run to the right there. Unusual. 4 items in here. That is a lot of money. So that's very nice in case I ever go to Zora or want to go to House of Darkness. That's a lot of money. Wow. That is almost worth it going up here for the money. Almost, not quite. Let's see. We have Quake requirement for Turtle Rock, so... Well, if we have the other items, we could already go in there, if we really wanted to. And you know what? I have so much money. I'm just gonna buy a safety item early. Might seem a little excessive, but... I just like having a blue potion as a backup. So, importantly, we do need to know whether we require boots this seat. So this is going to be more information acquired. Plus, we can see what we need in order to go into Misery Mire. I could consider just double or dipping into Misery Mire straight away. It is, however, ether, so we do need an ether medallion too. But, as I usually like to say, a double dip Misery Mire, often not that big of a deal. I will say it usually costs you a bit of time, but like at least half the time, where the big key is kind of far buried anyways. It will not cost you much time for a double dip, and sometimes you actually even get great rewards. Basically what I'm saying, it is low risk, medium rewards potential. So it's kind of a decent ratio in my mind. I do not have the statistics to back that up, by the way. There is a small key, so at least by logic, we do require the key, the boots in order to clear desert. That is good information to have. There's the big key, so we can just straight up clear the desert palace. The boss is not in logic, but the big chest is in logic to get. So that's kind of an interesting divergence there. There's one item right here, and I'm just gonna go for the boss, because we might just get another item. I don't have the best tools to kill them, but a tempered sword is usually going to be mostly fine. It's not great, but it works. Not the slowest either. Plus this will give me information as to whether I will want to come back to desert sooner or later. Because there's one item remaining right now, but it could just be on the boss. But as I said, even though we do not need the small key to defeat Landmolas here, because, well... yeah. Basically we don't need it. But what you could do is you could grab one of these small keys, like in under this pot here, and decide to go for going to the right side of desert. Which, in this kind of setting, does not make much sense, but you could do that. And let's say if the boots were on the right side of Desert Palace, then you could never get the boots, and if the big key of Ganon's Tower is on the torch, then you could not clear the seat. At that point. It's kind of unusual scenarios, but you need to consider that sometimes there's people playing Randomizer that don't even know the game too well. Like, they kind of sort of have an idea, but it's still mostly like a rather casual audience. Also, there is no item remaining here. That's convenient. Because, honestly, Randomizer are just fun to play, even if you're not trying to do anything competitive. So somebody who might just not know the layout of the dungeon or where to go in the various dungeons because, well, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I didn't really know the layout of many dungeons. Like, some of them I remembered. But like Misery Mire or Ice Palace, I was just stumbling through the first few times I played Randomizer until I really got used to it. Especially Misery Mire is one of these dungeons, if you don't necessarily know where to go exactly, you can just use a bunch of small keys in inefficient spots and go really long ways around, but, well, you're not gonna know about that unless you either put in the time for learning it or play a lot of Randomizer. You still struggle a bit with Ice Palace, the conversion boss paths just melt your brain. Yeah, I don't blame you for that. It took me a while. Like, I've been literally playing Randomizer tournaments before I properly memorized the layout of Ice Palace. There's one item right here. Yeah, like that. Okay, 5-6 crystal is Palace of Darkness and Skullwoods. For Skullwoods we just need a fire rod, but Palace of Darkness we need the hammer and the bow. But yeah, I guess the thing about Desert Palace it is a very simple dungeon. So casually you will probably, if you've played once through the game, remember it pretty well, I would guess. But you can still decide to try and be smart and steal the small key from the back and use it on the right side. So you always have to account for that because, well, maybe somebody just thinks they are making a clever play that way, which, I mean, I have to admit, I never thought about stealing the small key on my own until I heard somebody talk about it. So I do think that is pretty clever because it's a thing that you kind of think out of the box for, right? I think that's kind of neat. Baseline. Alrighty. Do we go up and around north? Unfortunately, we did not get the second items from Skullwood, so that was a bunch of time invested, but that's alright. No, actually, we can just do Thieves' Town. Do we go Graveyard Ledge? Maybe... No. We combine Graveyard Ledge with Catfish whenever we go there, which is not right now. It's one of these things that a decent amount of people like to check Graveyard Ledge in this position because you have the tools to go and check it, and you just check Bumper Ledge, which is somewhat close-ish. Like, it's a reasonable play, to say the least. I mean, another example of stuff that might just be not as familiar if you haven't played a ton of Randomizer. I actually like playing Entrance Randomizer occasionally, especially cross keys. And I have to admit, I still don't know where to jump down for the various entrances in East Death Mountain in the Light World specifically. Because these are just, okay, there's like 5 places to jump down. One of them is really wrong that I should not pick because I just have to go back up. And I frequently enough just pick that one anyways because I don't play Entrance Randomizer often enough. On a separate note, so we did just get the small key to Thieves' Town. It is entirely possible for us to never need to use it, but if there's an item in the big chest in Thieves' Town, I will not be able to get it before the hammer. That is interesting, but what is also interesting is that the boss, as a matter of fact, I think, because we did get the small key early on, is in logic to be defeated without the hammer. If, let's say, the small key was locked into the big chest itself, then the boss would, as a matter of fact, be not in logic to be defeated without the hammer. You can still easily do it, but logic-wise, the game needs to account for you potentially grabbing the small key up in the coming pot and decide to, well, skip just to the right of that room instead of going upstairs, which is what most people would do. Then you would not have another small key to use on... well, this door here in particular, you could not open it and open up the path to Blind. So if Blind would have the hammer itself, in that circumstance you could softlock the game. Again, unusual. Sometimes you decide to make unusual plays because you feel like it. That's alright. So it's nice that basically you can't mess up. I do not know whether the logic accounts for certain like minor sequence break, like let's say Ice Palace Bomb Jump or Hammer Jump and stuff. But if you know those, I guess you should find anyways. It might actually account for that. What was the stone drop again? Hearts? I forgot. Yeah, it was hearts. That's nice. Hello. There's another item, and I think... yeah, there could be an item on Blind, or there could be an item in the big chest. It's a 50-50 at this point. We just hope it's on Blind, that way I don't have to worry about the big chest. It's really that simple. The logic does account for Ice Palace Bomb Jump in the glitched logic settings. In glitched logic, that is not these settings, is it? Fun fact about blind, it does not matter how much damage you do to the head, it will always be counted as one hit. And it's always 3 hits in order to go to the next phase. 3 hits for phase 2, and 3 hits to defeat the boss. And there is an item in Thief's Stone that I cannot get right now. So there's a strong argument to be made to check the first chest in Swamp Palace if we don't find the hammer by then. Because the argument is as follows. If there is a hammer or an item leading to the hammer in Swamp Palace, the first chest specifically, because you literally can't access any others without the hammer, unless you do major glitches. The logic is that running from the Village of Outcast, which is your only access to the Dark World, all the way down to Swamp Palace is kinda slow. And if I deliver the purple chest, I am kind of right next to the entrance of Swamp, which is not terribly slow. I do find a shovel along the way here, so we can just check that along the way too. Alrighty, we're gonna deliver Froggy here. We're gonna visit the pyramid from this side of the river and check the front of Escape as well. Basically, I'm just gonna do a full Dark World tour with everything included. By the way, did you know that the smiths actually cost money? I did not realize that for such a crazy long time, let me tell you. It's kind of funny to think about it now. I just didn't realize it, they cost money, it's like 10 rupees. It's basically not worth mentioning, which is why I didn't know for such a long time. Shovel in the digging game, thanks Rando. Yep, I found this guy's shovel. Stumpy. By the way, on a completely random note, when I was a kid, I was terrified of Stumpy turning into something else. Like that transformation, for whatever reason, really scared me. Oh, don't dash. Come on, Yaga. Just walk. Do that, that's fine. I do not know why, but I was really spooked of that. So we got a fire rod out of the shovel, that's very nice. I think we go Hype Cave before we go Swamp. Maybe we go Hype Cave before we go deliver the chest. So, what we do here is we leave the purple chest behind, because even though the purple chest is no longer following me, the game still remembers that this was my most recent follower. Until I switch to the Dark Worlds, even quit or anything like that, the game will remember, hey, you have a purple chest with you right now. For example, I also couldn't enter certain places that had multiple exits, while the purple chest, even if it wasn't directly following me, was around, so to speak. So, because of that, the game still remembers and does not wipe the follower count clean until basically your invulnerability frames wear off in the light world if you mirror. So, because the game still remembers that I do in fact have a purple chest, we can just go here. Mirror, and while I have invulnerability frames, deliver the purple chest. It is definitely not following me right now. But this guy is such a great thief that he doesn't care. He just opens the purple chest remotely. He uses his psychic powers and even gives you the item from the remote, so he's a great wizard. Okay, kind of like I mentioned before, I'm just gonna go ahead and check this right now. It's not a great check, but it's actually faster than checking catfish separately entirely. So I guess it's okay. Zelda, a link deleted. Took me a second to recognize what you were doing with that. Alright, we actually don't care about going into swamp whatsoever. I'm literally just here to check the first chest because, well, dependent anyways. 5 rupees, and it was basically nothing. Alright, now I should have switched to hookshot, so I could have hook dashed right there. For many streamers to block links in their stream, yeah. It's very necessary, I dare to say, for a lot of streamers to just no links unless allowed, you know. It makes sense. So, before we go Palace of Darkness, we head over to the pyramid, check that one item, then we mirror to the front of Escape, check these bunch of items as well as the one in the Dark Cross. Then we head over to Palace of Darkness. If that's nothing, we go Catfish, and on the way there, we check the pyramid ledge. It's not the greatest plan, but it is a plan. That is just money, right? Yeah, it's just money. A lot of money though. So we have found no small key. So the Dark Cross could still be the small key. What's Link in the stream? I mean, we don't need Link. We have Moogle. Meet Kutan. Kutan really likes beating up Ganon frequently. Does not die all that often. Alrighty, in fact, as I have said, we do, as a matter of fact, now have the situation where we know there's a small key available somewhere. This small key was locked by the lamp, or the fire rod for that matter, in this case the lamp, because it is in the Dark Cross. So these two chests that are coming up here are actually not logically available until you have access to that small key. Again, needing to make sure that you do, as a matter of fact, have access to these items, even if you decide to kill a guard, grab his key, and then go through the sewers and open the door there. So this King of Burna is technically an item that came after acquiring the lamp. And so is this Bombus medallion. So that is kind of an interesting little tidbit, maybe. Hey Metal Bear, welcome. How are you doing today? Alright. Now we head over to Palace of Darkness. It's entirely possible that Zora has an item, but thanks to having plenty of money, we don't need to worry about that too much. It costs 110 rupees to enter Palace of Darkness, but even if we had less money than enough, we could just go and grab the money in the back of Palace of Darkness. If you know how to mimic clip, you don't need to worry about getting locked out of the dungeon. Now, what do we need at this point in order to be in Go mode? We need a Samaria Hammer Ether Medallion, as well as a bow. So we need 4 items still in order to be in go mode in this seed. If we find the hammer, we can clear Ice Palace, so that would be immediately our next target. Alternatively, we could go into Skull Woods, because we know there is an item either on the boss or nearby, if you will. You're fine, that's nice. Good morning and welcome. There's a small key, which means at least the entry chests here are in fact logically available without having a bow. Good to know. There's another small key. If we find one more small key in the next 2 chests, then we know that the backside of Palace of Darkness was in fact also logically available to be accessed. There's a grand total of at least 4 keys guaranteed in the front 6 chest, including the bow locked side. And there's another one, so the back is in fact now in logic to be accessed without needing a bow, which does mean that the bow in fact could be over there to begin with. There is one of 2 items here specifically, the big key right here, that is, well, in these first 6 chests there's 4 small keys and 2 other items, or could also be 2 more small keys actually. It's also technically possible. Either way, we want to defeat these mimics, and 2 of them we can just use the sword for, and the third one is a little bit more stubborn and can only be killed specifically by using the bow, but also we can confuse him really bad and decide to make sure that he just decides to leave backwards through a wall. This is called a mimic clip, so what you do there is, for 1 frame exactly, which is 1/60th of a second, you turn the mimic towards a wall and then face it up or down. The mimic only gets pushed out of the wall. There's a mushroom that is out of logic right now. The mimic only gets pushed out of the wall if it is facing into the wall, but the game fails to check that the mimic is inside a wall if you very specifically decide to just make the mimic face up or down, so it doesn't get pushed out of the wall. And so if you just do this 10 or 11 times in succession repeatedly without accidentally letting the mimic get pushed back out of it, then you can clip the mimic far enough into the wall that the game decides that, hey, you're not supposed to be here, let me just try and find a place to put you. Just kind of sliding the mimic backwards through the wall. Because that's what would normally happen when they walk into the wall to begin with, they just slide backwards. Speaking of sliding backwards, there's the boots, which are logically required to clear desert. Oddly enough, actually, we know that desert was... Oh my goodness, I could have known that one. We know that desert was not required, though. For boots. More specifically, there's no item in desert. That's what I meant to say. Like, specifically the boss item would be unlocked through the boots, but it wasn't anything spectacular anyways. Did I get... Okay, we need one more. This is what I should be paying attention to, by the way, rather than having to open the menu. But then again, I almost never open the menu besides that. Okay, there is a book. That could be curious as well. Okay. And a bow. Okay, we do find the bow. Oh no. Oh, this is interesting. That's not good. So the bow is in logic, actually, I think. Excuse me while I'm trying to figure out how to proceed from here. Nothing in here of note. I don't know whether this is fast. It's probably faster than saving and quitting, isn't it? To get to Kingston at the very least. So we did get boots. We also got the mushroom. The mushroom was out of logic. So there's that. We can now clear Skull Woods still, so I should try to prioritize that. From Skull Woods we can technically run to the east for Catfish and Bracket Graveyard Ledge. Not a fan of running out of Skull Woods, it takes so long to backtrack through it. But also now we have a book which unlocks the tablets, which is also very awkward to access both of them either way. You know what I'm gonna do? I wonder whether it's faster to flute from Skull Woods to Kakariko Village in order to get to the item here. Either way, we got a bow. Which, finding that in Palace of Darkness is really neat, but since I didn't have the hammer... Wait a second, that actually did technically make the mushroom be in logic. Not like it matters, it wasn't anything useful, but that was technically in logic now that I think about it. We can now check the pedestal. We do have 2 small keys, we don't need to worry about this. And yes, mushroom is indeed back in logic. I just didn't connect these dots until just now. My brain was still... Oh, it's out of logic because my brain said so for some reason previously. Which, I mean, makes sense. Just didn't update the memo. Actually did not pay attention that I got both map and compass in this dungeon. If I did, then the item is guaranteed on the boss. Because the boss can drop the big key, small key, map and compass, or an item. You can never drop the small key. Did not pay attention whether they were all the small keys already. Alright. I'm gonna mirror anyways in order to check the pedestal. It's technically possible to be ether, also there is the other item. It's technically possible that ether is on the pedestal, so I should not underestimate that possibility, although we still need the hammer and the Kingdom of Mario if that were the case. Also, technically Ice Palace is available, I guess, for a few items, but without even Samaria, it's just gonna be awkward to check to begin with. Just couch cash. Yep, that's good to know. Also, powder is technically available in a... Oh my goodness, no, don't go here. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, many steps. A Bombos tablet is also available, which is also a separate check, because we need to go really far in order to check that one. Oh my goodness. Let's go Graveyard Ledge Catfish, Sora. I think that makes the most sense right now. So there was actually effectively no progression in Palace of Darkness. Except... Oh my goodness, don't do that, Jager. Except what is entirely possible is that the Armor's Knight in Eastern Palace has an item, and it's a green pendant, so it's technically 2 items. It's a really long way over there, which is why I didn't do it. I will rather or sooner dive into Swamp. But it's technically an option. Oh, don't do that. Ice is what I would rather dive into, is what I'm trying to say. Oh my goodness, come on. But yeah, play right. Alright. Whenever you're transitioning from light world to dark world and back, or back, there are these positions every 8 pixels, I think. I actually don't remember the number. But every so few pixels, there's a position where you get a quick warp. If you look at the animation here, it just kind of zipped into place towards the end. This saves you like a quarter of a second or something like that. It is surprisingly significant on how much time it saves if you can stand in these exact spots. Now, the thing is, sometimes it's easy, like you literally bonk into the wall there and you get the quick warp set up for Zora. For Catfish, so that's nice. Other times you can walk into the left or the right hand side of a portal, so that's also convenient. Other times there's not really a good setup whatsoever, and you just hope you get it. If you don't, well, too bad. Speaking of not, Ice Palace? When did I get Powder? Powder was along the same vein as the shovel and other stuff. Yeah, we're gonna... Are we going... all the way to Bomba's tablet? I didn't check either. Why did I click that away? Yeah, fish. Yeah, a little bit. Bomba's tablet is so far away. It's one of these seats where if you happen to choose correctly, you can save a ton of time. And so far I haven't really chosen correctly. So it's like, well, I hope my opponent chose equally bad, otherwise probably gonna lose. Which, by the way, is always possible that your opponent just happens to get just as unlucky as you. Do we go Ether Tablet next? Ice Palace, Ether Tablet. These are just horrible choices across the board. It's like I don't know what to do. That portal, by the way, we can no longer get back. We flew, even if we go to Kakariko. I guess we go Ether Tablet next. Mainly because it's not quite as horrible of a trick as to Bomba's tablet. So, assuming we get a hammer, order of operation, immediately clear Ice Palace. What else? Actually, almost has to be hammered. The only other option would be Ether for Misery Mire, which I wouldn't mind, but unlikely. Ice Palace it is! I was considering going Bomba's Tablet, but most people would go into Ice Palace beforehand. We don't even have a Kid of Samaria to shorten the distance or get an additional chest along the way. Speaking of having no King of Samaria, I could technically clear Ice Palace if I get a hammer, so we still do the bomb jump, even though clearing all the chests is gonna be made slower because of that decision, assuming we don't find the hammer in here. For example, the Ice Tier room is quite a bit slower. If we get Ether, do we dip immediately out of here and go Misery Mire? I think yes. I think we do. We're bored. That's not an Ether medallion. The bomb jump time it is. So, there's a bunch of chests we cannot get because we do not have a hammer. Specifically right hand side of this dungeon cannot be accessed without getting a hammer. But if we do get a hammer, we still don't have a Samaria. We do have a blue potion if desirable. Ice to your room first, maybe? It's kind of softening the blow a little bit in case we have to walk around. I think we do this. Wait, we don't have a small key. This was a mistake. I do not want to go here first. I want to go on the standard route first. So if you want to bomb jump across this gap, just hold the sword, look to the right, place a bomb and wait. The easiest setup there is. There's the hammer. Guess we just go around. Oof. There's still 2 items in here. We did find the hammer after all. Wasn't the last location, but it really is not far off. So that stinks a little bit. Now, I wonder. Back. I want a bit of health here. I'm gonna go right side. Ice Palace as well. Another small key. There's no way to go properly up the stairs, so we just go across the hookshot room. So this was available as soon as we got Bombos, in fact. It's actually already Sphere 3, so this was available technically since a long time. But practically, nobody's in their right mind is going to go in there. Until a lot of the other options are exhausted, unless they feel really far behind. Which is known to have happened to a lot of people. Most of the time, they're gonna lose because they feel behind and they play like they are behind. Sometimes it's fine. But that's unfortunately, it's usually the exception. There's a map. Also, we do want to be thorough because there's still a bunch of stuff that we need. I mean, one of the saving graces could be even if somebody decided to dip into Ice Palace early-ish, before Palace of Darkness for example, they still would need to find the bow. Which is kind of a big deal. Wait a second. Did we find the big key? We did. When did I do that? Did I miss it? I missed it. Of course I missed it, I just don't know when. This could have been half magic, but it isn't. But funnily enough, it's an additional fire rod shot if we want it, so this might be the most useful small magic thing in a chest that I've ever seen. Maybe. Kinda funny. Alrighty, so what's next? Not bad. Alrighty, we can go and clear Palace of Darkness. Which is the second 5-6 crystal. So let's go and do that. So Hammerpeck Cave is available, as well as some other things, I guess. Swamp is available. We know it's not pedestal, so that's a thing. There's one item on the boss in Eastern Palace. And basically the green pendant. At this point there's so few locations left for possible ether medallion. Or Samaria for that matter. That I might just consider it. Going into Eastern Palace for the green pendant and the boss. Should I do it? I really don't want to. It's always possible, but it's just as possible to be in swamp. Could also be Spy Cave at this point. Our options really haven't improved that much. I wanna do Hammer Pecks actually and go back into Thieves Town. Because it's incredibly unlikely that a potential opponent would decide to go Hammerless Ice Palace before clearing Thieves Town without a hammer. So if there is a useful item in Thieves Town Big Chest, that would be almost game winning. I say almost because I'm not the only one who does that kind of thing. But at the same time, if I go Thieves Town for that one item, you might as well just do Eastern Palace for 2 items, you know? It's more efficient that way anyways. It's 8 hits after the mask falls apart for the second time. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. I think we go Bombos Tablet into Pyramid Fairy. One of the biggest advantages of that kind of route is you always need to clear the crystals before Pyramid Fairy, so it's always in sequence. The downside is we can't check a catfish or literally anything else along the way at this point. Bombos Tablet into Pyramid Fairy it is. Hello and welcome, Chuck. I hope you're doing well. Do you want to do a stair lag cancel when landing with the ducky there? Does anybody know that? It looks the same as a stair lag, right? Maybe going left and right. Maybe it's... was it because I fluted from a staircase? You are! Hey, that's nice. I'm doing quite fine, I think. Actually a lot more awake than I expected to be at this point, so that's nice. So, Pyramid Fairy into Spy Cave, I guess. Maybe we just go Swamp instead? Swamp is not a bad choice here. We are right here too. I like Pyramid Fairy more, because technically this was available actually decently fast for items placement. Welcome to you, Calamarino. Thank you for the good luck and have fun. I definitely need the luck at this point, I think. Still 2 items remaining. I kind of expect to find the King of Samaria and then the allure of going up to Death Mountain for Pendant Total Rock is kind of high. Intentionally get a hit there so I can dash with the bomb. Because normally the dash button and putting the bomb down for explosion button are one and the same. But if you do a dash first, if you do a hookshot first, for example, or you get hit first, basically anything that makes you move a little bit, you can effectively start running before the bomb catches up, and that can help you a little bit. Alright. Arrows and nothing. Hammer picks. Potential opponent would probably go into swamp. I'm more hesitant because I checked the first chest in swamp already. But there's at least one item that we know it's not. But yeah. Swamp it is next. As much as I always say that don't be afraid to go back into Thieves Town, this is the more conservative option. If I hope that my opponent had just as much trouble with various items as I did. That's kind of my only hope at this point. So I'm trying to follow in their footsteps, and maybe my execution might just kind of help me a little bit there. Who knows? Then again, a lot of people would be really intrigued by the prospect of 2 items on a boss in Easton. There's just no good option, okay? Not this seed. It's just... You could get the quad route. You decide, you know what? I feel like hammerless ice today. Why not? Not even Samaria, it's fine. To be fair, I don't expect anybody to do that, so... At the very least, the hammer is gonna be late for basically any racer that doesn't decide to just kind of do really goofy stuff. But always a possibility. You could just feel like it sometime. Maybe what is also always possible is a racer, potential racer, might have decided to defeat Aghanim because it kind of looked like Aghanim, and then they feel really far behind. And they'd go ahead and decide that, you know what, I need to make plays in order to get lucky. So they just go into hammerless Ice Palace very early on, get the hammer out of it, and then decide, you know what, let's also go swamp. Just play for pedestal, and then get everything along the way. Unlikely, possible, but unlikely. I just kind of like, at this point, because I have nothing else to do, just imagine these scenarios. If we get Samaria, do we ever just head out of this dungeon? I think the answer is always going to be no. We always need the Ether Medallion still. We know we could do Total Rock if we get Samaria. Not even in its entirety though. Can you ask a question? Is the Moon Pearl always in the light world? It has to, right? There is 1.5 exceptions to the Moon Pearl always being in the light world. It has to be in a logically accessible location. And one of these locations is actually in the dark world that is accessible. That is on the Pyramid Ledge. If you go and defeat Aghanim, the Pyramid Ledge can, as a matter of fact, turn out to be... Oh, that's neat. That's definitely required, so no matter what, somebody had to go in here. Oh, whoops. Yeah, Pyramid Ledge is possible because even though you're a bunny for a moment, you can just walk there. There's nothing the way of stopping you to go there. The other half exception is Checkerboard Cave. Because you have to walk quite a bit through the dark world, and it's not even particularly, like... It can be tricky, to say the least. Could he? Thank you. Finally figured out as to why sometimes my bomb setup does not work. It's because I'm holding the sword to go into the thing. Yeah, Checkerboard Cave, while it is technically in the light world, you have to go through the dark world in order to get it. So if you have a flute, mirror, and titansmith, Checkerboard is available. Also, we do need some area still, and at this point we might as well just try to get all the items out of here, right? That was the second item out of here. So in case you're wondering, we will always go into Misery Mire next, because Misery Mire could just have the kind of some area. And hey Eri, welcome! Thank you for the good luck! Luck has not been kind in the last 5 seeds I played, which were all open plus ladder, and the tournament qualifier thing is just like, just didn't pick the right locations, and the seed was not long enough for my efficiency to pay off. Hey, there it is, right. At least left side swamp definitely paid off in this case, for once. And welcome, I hope you're doing well. And I think you got a pretty good placement recently, to say the least. Might be an understatement. Alrighty. I will guess that my chance to win this seed against any opponent is 40-60. It's not terrible. Like 40%. Not terrible, but I will slightly favor my opponent, because you could always just decide to pick slightly less inefficient choices, especially since we were without a hammer for such a long time, checking out really slow locations individually. That is enough magic for left side if we want to do that. You can't complain how you've been playing. Nice. I mean, that's pretty awesome. My save style has not really paid off in the big tournaments. Well, I guess to be fair, open plus ladder, the first 6 matches, it paid off, I guess. Just the last 2 were more questionable nature. I can't hover. Game. Not technically true, but there's no way it's gonna ever save me time to try and hover. It's gonna take me like 15 or 20 attempts. Actually, I don't think I've even hovered across that gap in particular. I do have a fire rod, but not a magic, so... You've been really enjoying the qualifiers though, you miss big races. Quite fascinating actually. To me, the way I play, I'm never going to... well, I suppose never say never, but I'm unlikely to win big races because I just kind of play for absolute safe play. Which does mean that I always go left side swamp, I always go and check Era basement unless specifically certain locations happen to be the items that we need. I'm not gonna win there, which is okay. Your controller thanks you. Oh, not hovering? You know, that's probably the reason why the A button gave up. Because I was practicing it a bunch. Although, I don't know why the X button gave up on my secondary controller that I almost never use. That's a lot less usual. Not even an item. Yes, Skin of Samaria was the last missing item for Go mode. Which actually was left side swamp. And it was only 1 item. So somebody might decide to go straight through swamp and they don't find it. Actually, without Samari, they couldn't go to the rock hell. But never mind. They probably just go left side swamp anyways after the fact. But yeah, do you need to do stair lag cancel after looting? Or how does that work? Still have the blue potion from the beginning. Uh-oh. If you don't move after warping, you don't need to cancel it. But you do have to cancel it. Like I assume it's the same concept as stair lag. Oh my goodness. Because I only just now started to realize that if I hold down, or down right, down left, it just kind of does the weird thing there. Took me long enough, I guess. I guess most of the time you go left or right anyways. It's specifically Link's House South as well as Death Mountain South. Holding. And I guess maybe Sick Kid. That's nice. Alright. That's fine. I did not need nice rod at this point. Thank you very much. Okay, wrong way. Really? Trying to save magic here. Game. Let's see. Small key? Oh, there's a big key. There could be a small key in these boxes here. There is one right here. Let's go. Small keys can only be on the right side if there is a big key as well. Need a tiny bit more magic, maybe. Oops. Still have a blue potion. Maybe I should just use it. I have half magic anyways, so it's fine. Oops. Messed up. Oopsie. Really? Okay, let's just use all the magic for this in the next room and use a blue potion slightly into the gauntlet or something. What am I doing? Yeah, I'm just gonna use the blue potion. This is fine. We have all the necessary tools anyways. Yeah, if you switch the item to remove the cloak, it can actually have some glitchy effects. Which is why you want to manually interrupt the dash after you unhide, I guess, during the dashing. Oh my goodness. Dude. A lot of arrows though, so we're not gonna run out anytime soon on those. Uh-oh. Oh, I was trying to face to the right there, but didn't manage. That's alright. Ooh, I shouldn't have done that. Now I don't have enough magic for the other room. It's fine, I only need that many hearts. Start getting rid of bombs. Oh. Well, that's awkward. Now I need more hearts than before. One. And two. Thanks, buddy. Uh-oh, messed up. Okay, just in time for the backup. I didn't move far enough to the left. That's okay. Cape. That's good. That could have probably been better too, it's fine, okay. Oh my goodness, really? Only 3. 4, could have been 5. Could have been 6 if you know. I feel like I'm messing up all of these recently. Also, I forgot to mark the shield and the ice rod. And the blue mail, actually. Only 4 bombs to get rid of, so that's neat. One. Only 3. 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. It's been a while since I've done that one. Released the spin slash slightly too early. 1. That's probably one of the quickest steps I've ever had here. 7. 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright. This is... alright. That's a thing. Okay. So there's the bombs. Quick swapping is easier towards fire rod. Alright, not the worst. Bit goofy, but fine. Alrighty, of the 8 remaining racers having entered this race, one has finished, and that's me. Which, by the way, as usual, in a ladder race, I'm only racing against one opponent. Well, but that just happened. Indeed. Alrighty. We have finished with an official time of 1 hour, 28 minutes and 48 seconds, and our opponent was Schulzer. GG. Yeah, this was a... wow. I know Schulzer is, by the way, is really good at this game, so... I must have just gotten slightly luckier than him, so... there's not really much else to say about that. This was a very seed, I guess. But yeah, for reference, the other 6 racers, aside from my opponent, they do have completely different seats. Those seats could be much slower, much faster, all these kinds of things. So usually how many other racers have finished is not a particularly good indication as to how well or not so well you're doing, so to speak, in the race. But in the case of where you're literally the first one of all the racers to finish, well, I guess it can be helpful. These item locations were dumb. Yeah. It's definitely... It's one of these seats that I actually enjoy playing casually, because at some point you're just kind of starting to smile and admire how many more silly things this seat can do. In a race setting, I guess it can be fun. Why not? Alrighty, GG to Schulzer. Let me actually see where Schulzer is currently. Now that I'm finished, I'm allowed to check. I actually figured my opponent might be German, because some Germans thrown up in chat. I have no idea how to search for Schulzer. You had no idea? Fair enough. Alrighty, a brief look at Schulzer's track here tells me that he did not enter Turtle Rock, so at least that fate was spared for him. He did apparently not check all the items in Ice Palace, so I will guess he probably last located the hammer in Ice Palace. Ooh, don't die, please. Because there's even less remaining on Schulzer's map compared to mine. I had hammer packs remaining. Schulzer did actually not go back into Thief's Town either. Surprising. But yeah, it must have just kind of been a bit more awkward. Maybe Schulze checked Bombo's tablet along the way separately, as well as Ether tablet separately. There's one of these seats where you could just lose so much time by just, you know, deciding to avoid Ice Palace until it's the very last location. And if the hammer wasn't in Ice Palace, I would have lost even more time compared to checking Bombo's tablet. It's just awkward, but hey, sometimes that's okay. That klepto jerk in the forest makes you so mad. Those are the strongest enemies in basically any Zelda game. You literally can't kill them. They are immune to your sword swing. You can have a gold sword, the strongest weapon in the world, if you will, even. They just kind of bounce off and keep running at you. Fascinating. Then again, to be fair, the red mimics, you can't kill them with the sword either, but at least arrows work. But besides that, I think I don't really have a whole lot to add for today. I technically only streamed 8.5 hours before this stream today, starting basically at midnight, because I'm trying to fix my sleep schedule. It's gonna work. I don't know, I'm gonna try to stay awake at least at until 8 PM. And, you know, actually, this race woke me up way more than I expected it to be. Well, that's nice. Okay, aside from that, I hope you all have a most pleasant day. I wish you a good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Take care, have a good night, and, well, hopefully until next time. Thank you for watching. And if you're in YouTubes, I hope you enjoy the stuff as well.